The wind came low across Sagebrush Hollow that evening, like a memory brushing past a cheek. Dust swirled through the cracks in the boardwalk, and the brittle song of a wind chime tapped against the old post outside Carter's General Store. Clint McRae shifted in the saddle as his mare slowed, the reins loose in his hands, his jaw set like a man used to silence. The setting sun poured a copper light across his worn duster, making him look more like a silhouette than a man, half ghost, half grit. He hadn't planned to stop in town. Wasn't anything for him here. But the horse had a limp, and he figured a nail might have found her shoe. Just a few minutes, he told himself. And then back to the ridge, back to the lonely ranch where only the wind remembered his name. But then he heard it, soft as breath, small as a prayer. "Excuse me, mister, would you buy our toy?" He turned. There, standing near the edge of the store's porch, were two small figures, one clutching a limp cloth doll, the other pressed against her side like a shadow that hadn't learned how to talk yet. The girl couldn't have been more than 4, with tangled golden hair escaping from beneath a bonnet, her cheeks pinked by cold. The boy beside her, 3 perhaps, had the same wide eyes, but his voice had gone somewhere quieter. Clint blinked. What was that? The girl stepped forward, lifting the doll with both hands, her arms trembling a little. "Our mama's real sick. We don't got money for medicine. But if you buy our doll, maybe Doc Carter'll help her." Clint's gaze dropped to the doll. It was handmade, the kind sewn with loving fingers, brown yarn hair, stitched smile, patched dress. It was old but cared for. He reached out, gently took it and turned it over. There, on the hem of the dress, were 2 initials sewn in small, fading thread, AR. His breath caught like a lasso around the lungs. That name. That thread. That stitching. Annie Rosewood. He crouched down slowly, his voice low and almost afraid. "What's your mama's name, sweetheart?" The little girl blinked, hopeful. "Annabelle Rosewood. Folks call her Annie." For a moment, time folded in on itself. Clint swore he could smell wildflowers again, the one she'd tuck in her braid. Hear her laugh, that soft, golden note that made the summer hum louder. He swallowed hard. That was a decade ago. Before his father's fist. Before the shouting. Before he rode out without looking back. "Where is she now?" he asked. The boy finally spoke just one word, "There." He pointed toward the alley behind the shop. The world narrowed. Clint handed the doll back to the girl, nodded once and turned toward the alley with heavy boots. His shadow stretched long across the ground, like it didn't want to follow. The room was nothing more than an old tailor's shed. The door hung crooked, the window was stuffed with rags, and the smell of damp wood and sickness clung to the air. Clint stepped inside, ducking low. She was there. Lying on a cot, wrapped in a too-thin quilt, her skin pale as pearl under a sweat-shined brow. Her hair, once a river of honey, was now knotted and dulled. But her face, God help him, it was the same. Softer with time. Etched with struggle. But still her. She stirred. Coughed. Then her eyes opened. They met his. At first she didn't speak. Just stared. And then, with a whisper so thin it nearly shattered him, "Clint?" He took off his hat. Nodded once. "Yeah. It's me." She smiled like someone who'd waited for a dream too long to trust it when it came. "You come back, finally?" He sank beside her cot. Didn't speak. Just watched her, his throat closing tight. There was too much to say. And none of it right now. I tried to keep them warm," she said, voice hitching. "But I got so dizzy. Couldn't stand long enough to work." Clint reached for the chipped cup on the crate beside her and poured what little water was left into it. He held it to her lips, steady as stone. She drank. "Eva sold her doll?" she whispered, embarrassed. "No," Clint said softly. "She offered it to me. But I didn't take it." A flicker of something, relief, passed across her face before the fever pulled her back under. Outside, the children sat by the shed's wall. Eva looked up at Clint with wide, worried eyes. "Will Mama be okay?" Clint crouched, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. "She will. I'll see to it." He rode into town with the sunrise, his coat stiff with frost, his heart heavier than the sky. The baker, Dulcie Wren, gave him a long look as he stepped into her shop. "Haven't seen your face in years," she said. "I need food. Medicine. Blankets. Everything." She raised a brow. "For who?" "Annie Rosewood." The room quieted. Sheriff Harlan leaned back in his chair near the stove, chewing on a toothpick. "Didn't she marry that drifter?" "Ran off with him, I heard." "He die?" Clint nodded once. 3 winters ago. Buried somewhere in El Paso. The sheriff eyed him. "And what's she to you now?" Clint didn't answer. Just placed a stack of coins on the counter. Enough to empty the shelves twice over. He returned with arms full. Laid thick quilts over Annie's sleeping frame. Set bread and jam before the children. Boiled water with ginger for the cough. The days passed like snow melting on rock, slow, uncertain, but sure. One night she woke with more strength. Her voice no longer broke between syllables. "You didn't have to come back," she said. Clint didn't look up. "Didn't know you needed me. Until Eva asked me to buy a doll." Her lips curved, sad and sweet. "I made that doll the week you left. Stitched my initials on it thinking maybe you'd see it someday. And remember." "I remembered every day," he said, barely louder than the fire crackling. Silence. Then, "Why'd you go, Clint?" He exhaled, slow and bitter. "My father said I'd disgrace the family if I married a preacher's daughter. Said love doesn't put food on the table. And now," he met her eyes, "now I know that a full table means nothing if no one's sitting with you." She reached out, took his hand. That night, the children curled on the floor near the stove, warm and full. Clint and Annie sat beside the fire, not speaking, not needing to. The storm outside raged, but inside there was stillness, earned, tender, tentative. Dawn came soft and silver. The snow had blanketed the alley, quieting every edge of the world. Annie stood for the first time in days, leaning on Clint's arm. They watched Eva and Micah run circles around the porch, laughter peeling into the cold. "You didn't just buy that doll," she said. Clint glanced at her, confused. "You bought back a piece of me I thought I'd lost." He looked at the sky, then down at her. "I didn't come to buy anything," he said. "I came to give you something I should have given long ago." "What's that?" He pulled from his coat pocket a small new doll, stitched cleanly, carefully, with 2 sets of initials on the hem, ER and MR. "For the kids?" she asked, smiling. "For the beginning," Clint said, voice thick. She leaned her head against his shoulder. He didn't move, didn't breathe, afraid even the wind might break this new, fragile thing between them. Across the snow, Sheriff Harlan watched from a distance. Dulcie Wren stood beside him, arms folded. "Well," the sheriff said, "look at that." Dulcie nodded. "Some folks take the long road back." He kissed his teeth. Long road or not, they got there. And in that old shed, now filled with warmth and bread and giggles, the scent of cinnamon rising from a tiny stove, Clint McRae remembered what it meant to come home, not to a house but to people. Not to a fire but to light. If you ever come across a child offering you something broken, something soft and small and stitched with love, don't look away. Don't ask for the price. Just kneel, take it, and listen. Sometimes the smallest hands carry the biggest truths. And sometimes the thing they're offering isn't a doll at all. It's a door. And maybe, just maybe, it opens to your own heart.